A warm welcome to Diski Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Erik ten Hag as he's been heavily linked to Manchester United. So with Erik ten Hag then, this is a coach who has been at Ajax Amsterdam for the past couple of years, and it does look like then he's on his way to Manchester United. So on today's episode then, we're going to have a look at Erik ten Hag, Ajax Amsterdam and Manchester United. However, we will then start with Erik ten Hag. So when you have a look at Erik ten Hag then, this is a very, very dynamic and tactically advanced football manager and has spent some time under the tutelage then of Pep Guardiola when he was then the assistant to Pep Guardiola at Bayern Munich. So with Ten Hag then, this is a coach then who has done very well over the years with Ajax Amsterdam with regards then to integrating the young players, playing a fluid-free brand of football and very dynamic, very aggressive and on the front foot as well. We've seen him develop some of the best young footballers within world football. We've seen him then shock the footballing world when he went on all the way to the semi-finals with that Ajax Amsterdam squad within the 18-19 UEFA Champions League season. And within this season of the UEFA Champions League then, he also had some very, very good exploits. So this is a coach then who's developed a lot of talent. He's played some of the best football and a player and a coach then who does then enjoy playing on the front foot. But when we have a look at his Ajax Amsterdam side then and how then Erik ten Hag looks then to set up. So with Ajax Amsterdam then, it is a hybrid of a 4-2-3-1/4-3-3, depending then on different phases of play. So when you have a look at it then, in goals, he's mostly gone with Pasveer, but as of late, it has been Andre Onana. At right back, you've got Mazraoui, you've got Jurrien Timber, you've got Martinez, and then you've got Blind as well. And then the two within the heart of midfield, you do have Gravenberg, you do have Alvarez, and then you do have Berghuis. And then off the left-hand side, there's Dusan Tadic, you've got Halau starts up front, and then you've got Anthony as well. So without the ball, then, this is the shape that you'd most likely see. At times, whenever then opposition do set up in various ways, and it requires them to, sometimes then, without the ball, you will see them then go to somewhat of a 4-1-4-1. Depending then on how they're looking to press the opposition and how the opposition would be looking to play out from the back. So this is then a very dynamic side, even without the ball. Without the ball, they do look to press high in the opposition half and also then very well organized with regards to their defensive structures and their rest defense as well. So tactically and defensively, very, very disciplined and very aggressive with regards then to how they look to counter press. However, let's have a look at them in possession of the ball. So when you have a look then at Erik ten Hag's Ajax side, so he does look then to build up with a back three. So when you have a look at it then, Jurrien Timber would go to that right-sided pocket of space. He would occupy this deep right-hand side half space, and then you'd have Martinez there, and then you'd have Daley Blind. So he would look to facilitate his build-up with a back three, and when you have a look at it then, Daley Blind as a fullback, he also can play as a centre-back, but in this regard then, he does look to go into this deep pocket of space on the left-hand side, which then also allows ball circulation with regards to them looking to circulate from the left-hand side. It also then does give them that base of a three-man build-up. So you'd have Daley Blind a lot of the times looking to occupy that pocket of space. You'd have Martinez there, and then you'd have Timber there as well. But it also is key to note then that with Erik ten Hag's side, they do enjoy positional play and rotational play as well. So they're very fluid and they're very dynamic, and they do look to take up different shapes at different phases of the game. However, in most cases, they do look then to build up with a back three. And then when you have a look then at the midfield, you'd have Alvarez. Alvarez then is a defensive midfielder who used to play as a centre back, but he is now converted. And then you've got Mazraoui. So with Mazraoui then, he'd be looking to invert and come into that right-sided half space. And you then have somewhat then of a two in midfield in a sense. And then when you have a look at the other midfielders, you do then have Gravenberg there, and then you'd have Berghuis there. And what then it ends up looking like, so to a certain degree, it does then end up looking somewhat of a 3-2-2-3. And then off the left-hand side, you've got Dusan Tadic. With Dusan Tadic, it becomes very important with regards to staying high and wide within vertical zone 1 on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you do have Anthony. He also then becomes very key with regards to staying high and wide. And when you have a look at Anthony, oftentimes Ajax Amsterdam do look then to overload the left-hand side, looking then to isolate Anthony one-on-one with these men, which then creates that qualitative superiority with regards to the 1v1 offensive situations for Anthony. And then you do have Sebastian Haller. So what then becomes interesting then is Gravenberg and Berghuis. So I did mention then that there is a lot of positional play with regards to how Ajax Amsterdam look to approach games. So you'd have Gravenberg, who mostly occupies the left-sided half space, at times can push up, and then you've got Berghuis as well. Berghuis then is the much more advanced and forward-thinking midfielder. He does break into the final third a lot more. So Berghuis would often then join up, and then sometimes you'd see somewhat of a front four from this Ajax Amsterdam side. So another shape then, another offensive shape that they do tend to take up does then become somewhat of a 3-3-4. So that is also another offensive scheme that they do look to take up. And whenever then you do see this offensive scheme with Ajax Amsterdam, there is a lot of wide rotations as well and a lot of wide overloads as well. So a lot of the times what you would see Daley Blind occupying that pocket of space. You would see Dusan Tadic, Gravenberg looking to join. Then you've got Haller. That can easily be a 4v3, at times a 3v2 out wide. They do look to penetrate through the wide areas. And on the right-hand side, you'd see the very same thing, especially then with Mazraoui, who then does look to push further up within the half space. That is where he spends most of his time. At times, you'd even see Mazraoui looking to make the half space run. Whenever Anthony would look to stay wide, whenever Anthony does look to come in, then Mazraoui would go. But you don't always see that from this Ajax Amsterdam side. And when you have a look at it then, this is how aggressive that they can really become. Sometimes Gravenberg would join, and then it can go to somewhat of a 3-2-5 offensive scheme within the opposition half. So when you have a look at this Ajax Amsterdam side, they are very dynamic, very fluid in possession of the ball, and with regards to their movement in the opposition half. And sometimes there's another offensive scheme that they can look to take up, which then can sort of become somewhat of a 2-4-4, basically. So instead of your traditional 4-4-2, it goes the other way around. It becomes a 2-4-4-4. So that is this Ajax Amsterdam side with regards to how they're looking to play, how then they look to overload in wide areas and they look to penetrate. And also another key component of their play is the half space run. So the half space run is often those runs which are made from the half space, and looking to make those runs, also referred to then as an underlapping run. That is how Ajax Amsterdam would look then to impose themselves on opposition. So that is Erik ten Hag with regards to how he looks to play with this Ajax Amsterdam side. Over the years, he has looked to adapt. So with that run in the 2018-2019 season within the Champions League, Dusan Tadic did play as a false nine, as opposed to him playing out wide. And then this season, you've had Haller, who is much more then of a target man. However, also very good then at link-up play, dropping deep, and also then offering that aerial threat within the box. So with Erik ten Hag, he is then a very versatile and adaptive manager. However, That is Ajax Amsterdam and how they look to impose themselves underneath Ten Hag. However, let's have a look at it then from a Manchester United perspective. So when you have a look at Manchester United over the years, they have really struggled with regards to managerial appointments, and they found little to no success. In fact, their last successful manager was Jose Mourinho with regards to the couple of trophies that he did manage to win. And when you have a look at Manchester United overall, they do have then a board that, at times they haven't been progressive with regards to how they're looking then to build that squad. And what's going to become very key with regards to Erik ten Hag being successful at Manchester United is a complete squad overhaul, A, and B, trusting him then with regards to how he's looking to build this Manchester United side. Because if we don't see that, then we won't see then a fluid-free brand of football, especially then with Erik ten Hag. And Erik ten Hag then is cut from the total football cloth. He is cut and schooled then from the Johan Cruyff school with regards to his footballing acumen and how tactically advanced he is. Very similar then with regards to Xavi and Pep Guardiola as well. So this is a coach then who's looking to impose himself. He does play in a very expansive brand of football, and he's got that total football DNA. Coming into Manchester United then. So you have a look at Manchester United then, there are a lot of things that have to be changed, and I did mention then the squad overhaul. And what's going to be key then, if there is going to be alignment with Erik ten Hag's game model and Manchester United, then a lot of players will have to be shown the door, especially then when you have a look at the personalities. So we'll start in goals, for example. David De Gea. When you have a look at David De Gea, he's not the most comfortable on the ball. And with Erik ten Hag, he does like it when his goalkeeper's very comfortable on the ball. At times, you'd even see Andre Onana pushing up, being then that player who then is able then to facilitate build-up, very comfortable on the ball. And at times, you would see them facilitating build-up very deep within their own half. So at times, you'd even see the centre-backs going there, and then you have the goalkeeper there. He has to be very comfortable on the ball with regards to his passing and how then he's looking to play. Sometimes, he also then has to bypass the first line of press with a very penetrative pass, where then he's looking for one of those midfielders. And if his goalkeeper's not well adept at doing that, then I don't foresee him keeping the gloves much longer in relation then to David De Gea. So when you have a look at David De Gea, he could very well be then the first casualty, and I do think that Manchester United will need a goalkeeper who can play according to Ten Hag's style. However, it's also key to note then that part of being a manager and taking up a new project, adaptation becomes very important, because I don't think that he will get the squad overall at one go. So it does at times take up to 4 to 5 windows to get your perfect squad. However, a key component is his goalkeeper, and they will have to find a new goalkeeper. And then when we move it on then and have a look at the defenders. So you've got Maguire, and that is also another player who I don't think then would be able to fit the game model of Ten Hag, especially considering how erratic Maguire is and how he loses concentration, and how then he's also not the most comfortable with regards to progressing the ball and being able then to ensure that he does give Manchester United that quality within deep pockets of space with regards to how he's looking to advance the ball. That is also a very key component, because with Ten Hag, he likes centre-backs who are able to progress the ball, who are able then to play those penetrative passes from deep pockets. So the centre-backs become very, very key for Ten Hag when in possession of the ball. So when you have a look at it then, I do foresee Varane and Lindelof looking to start as a pair. However, also another position where Manchester United will have to go out and get another centre-back who could potentially then complement Varane. And then when you move it on right along and you have a look at the fullbacks, so you normally have Shaw and then you'd have Wan-Bissaka. So when you have a look at these two I just don't think that they will survive under Ten Hag, especially when you look at Wan-Bissaka. First of all, Wan-Bissaka is not comfortable on the ball. Secondly, he's not smart enough with regards to his positional play. He's a player then who isn't press resistant. You can look to press him. He can be used as a trigger with regards to how the opposition are looking to press, and he just doesn't offer you any quality on the ball. You know, defensively, 1v1, very good. However, with Erik ten Hag, and you look at Mazraoui and you compare him to Wan-Bissaka, you know, that is a huge contrast with regards to quality, because Mazraoui does invert. Can you ask Wan-Bissaka to invert and look then to give you that quality within the half space? No, you can't. So I don't think Wan-Bissaka would survive, but we do know that there is Dalot there, who is a player then who is comfortable on the ball, who could be better suited at performing that task for Erik ten Hag. And then as the left back, with Luke Shaw, is a bit more comfortable than Wan-Bissaka. However, I also think that he will struggle, you know, as he's not the most creative in those deep pockets. And when you have a look at Telles, that is a player then who could very well be a player then who could be key for Erik ten Hag, and a player that Erik ten Hag could really like, because when you have a look at his technical ability with regards to what he offers you with his passing range, also then when he does go wide from time to time, when they do institute those wide rotations and wide overloads, Telles can give you that quality. Moving on then within the heart of midfield, this is where Manchester United's biggest problem is, in my opinion, because when you look at the defensive midfield position, so you've got Fred, you've got McTominay, and you've got Matic. None of them are up to standard with regards to what Ten Hag is trying to do. However, there is a young man who's currently at Nottingham Forest, and he's on loan there. He goes by the name then of James Garner. So when you have a look at him, he is a player who is a young prospect who is up and coming, but you can't really pin so much pressure on him and expect him then to take up the mantle as the defensive midfielder for this Manchester United side underneath Erik ten Hag. However, he does possess the potential and the qualities then of a defensive midfielder who could do very well underneath Erik ten Hag. Also, another position where Manchester United have to go out and sign a defensive midfielder. And then when you have a look at it then, as number 8, these are options where then they do have a bit more quality. So you've got a Paul Pogba, you've got Fernandes, and then you've got Donny van de Beek. You know, 3 players then who are sort of at different phases and at different stages of their Manchester United careers. With Donny, he hasn't played much, but he was key then in Erik ten Hag's side. So we could potentially see Donny coming back then and adding that quality within the heart of midfield for this Erik ten Hag side. And then when you have a look at Pogba, this is a player then who we do know that has been linked with a move away for the longest of time. And in the recent match this past weekend, he was booed, you know, by his own fans. So yeah, very interesting with regards to seeing what might happen there. But you do then have a situation where Manchester United have to get a defensive midfielder. Donny van de Beek could possibly start, and then you could have Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes then, this is a player who does have quality. However, he does go missing and he becomes anonymous against those big teams. And when you have a look at Erik ten Hag, he will be looking to compete. He will be looking to upset the apple cart within the English Premier League. Yes, not to go head to head with Manchester City and Liverpool immediately, but over the next 2 seasons, if he can build his side very well, can get those quality players, he can really go and have a go at it. So I do think then that this is also another position which has a question mark, because Bruno Fernandes just really struggles against high-level opposition, you know. But it's going to be very interesting with regards to what happens to that. So you do then have Rashford, you do have Sancho, you do have Ilanga there as well. So also then very interesting. However, a player who I think stands a very good chance within the Erik ten Hag system and can very well become very successful underneath Erik ten Hag, it could be very well be Jadon Sancho, and a player then who's very exciting and can mold then that sort of that Dusan Tadic role, especially then on the left-hand side, And then you do have Ronaldo up front, you do have Martial as well. It's going to be very interesting to see if they do hold on to those type of players. However, I do see a mass exodus at Manchester United, especially then if Ten Hag is at the helm and he's trying then to build his squad in his own way. And then when we have a look at some of the players that Erik ten Hag could potentially bring to Manchester United, that players that could add that quality. So when you have a look at it then, for example, we'll start at the back. Mazraoui as a right back. I do think that could be a player that he could bring to Manchester United, as I do see Manchester United sort of raiding that Ajax Amsterdam side and getting at least 3 players in the summer. So Mazraoui could be a very key player, because when you have a look at that right back position, it lacks quality for Manchester United, and he could slot in and be that player who could offer him that quality then with regards to his offensive schemes and defensive schemes as well. And then when you consider then within the heart of midfield that they need a defensive midfielder, you've got Alvarez as well. That could be a key player that he could be looking to bring in. Then you've got Gravenberch, another player then who is key, and a player then who is tipped to become a superstar within European football and within world football as well. However, a name that has been heavily linked to has been Antony. And when you have a look at it then, this is a player then who I would say has been Ten Hag's best player this season, and a player who could add so much value and quality to the Premier League and to Erik ten Hag's Manchester United side, especially when you consider that you could have Jadon Sancho on the left-hand side, and then you could have Antony on the right-hand side. However, ladies and gentlemen, it remains to be seen with regards to the type of players we'll bring and what will happen when Erik ten Hag does eventually take over at Manchester United, which will obviously be next season. However, do let me know at home, what do you make of Erik ten Hag and his situation with regards to him heading to Manchester United, and with regards to Ajax Amsterdam, how well they've done in the previous years with regards to the trophies they've won and the talent that they've been able to develop and unearth as well. And do you see Erik ten Hag being successful at Manchester United? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.